Okay. Well, let this be a lesson to you. If you have a $30 million deal, don't skip out on $100,000 to pay the box, man.
No fucking shit. Oh, damn it.
Watching this movie, I was like, no wonder I drank during all of the Bush administration.
Shady fucking dealings.
And I wasn't even an arms dealer. I just worked part-time jobs in Springfield. I drank because of the news.
So, yeah, if you guys haven't clued in, we went to go see War Dogs.
Oh, we went to go see Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah, right?
Surprisingly takes place during the Iraq War. I wasn't expecting that. No, this is Todd Phillips' new movie. If you've seen the previews for it, it's Jonah Hill and Miles Teller as just a couple of bros who, you know, everyone else is making money off of arms shit during the Iraq War, so hey, why not us too? It's actually a pretty good movie.
It's fun. Definitely.
It is entertaining, and there's a lot of movies that are like this, that look like this, feel like it, use the same kind of narration that this movie does. Basically, movies that are like about chasing the American dream by doing illegal stuff. In this case, illegal arms dealing. You could compare this movie to like Wolf of Wall Street or Lord of War or Pain and Gain.
That's the one that I was thinking of.
Yeah, both of them in Miami.
Yeah,
both of them a lot in Miami. A lot of cocaine, a lot of nightclub stuff too. Like it really does kind of follow that kind of movie with like the quirky narration, a lot of vulgarity, and when they get more money, they, you know, get fast cars, and at least one of them will get hooked on cocaine, and then, you know, shady shit starts happening. But I like this kind of movie. I've seen, like, hell, the movie references Scarface quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's a well-made film. It is funny, and yeah, this movie does kind of speak to my taste in movies a little bit. I enjoy this kind of dark comedy. So even though it's something that I've seen before in other movies, and other movies have done it better, this is still a really entertaining movie.
Right. Well, and it's one of those stylized true story movies, kind of like Pain and Gain was too. Yeah. Where it's enough of the substance where they can call it a true story, but then they stylize it with...
Do you remember this story happening?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, at the time, was a pretty big deal stateside, but it didn't gain a lot of traction for a long time. Obviously, well, when you talk about the U.S. government, no story really sticks for very long. They end up...
Well, and in the 24-hour news cycle, too.
Right. I'm trying to think, because this was... the movie takes place between 2005 and then 2008.
Yeah, and by the time, like, their dealings make news, like CNN, and, like, it shows CNN clips and NBC Nightly News clips, that would have been, like, 2008, I believe.
Yeah, the tail end of 2008. That's, you know what, that makes sense then, because that was an election year. Yeah. So that's it. I'd have to look at the timeline, but that would make sense then that this story didn't gain a lot of traction, being an election year and being Obama. That was Obama's first cycle as a running candidate, and that story would have definitely dominated over this after, you know,
that story would have dominated. And whatever stupid shit Sarah Palin was saying in 2008.
Oh, yes. Fuck me, yeah. Oh, god damn it.
That would have dominated over this story. Big time.
John McCain. You know what? I like John McCain. Whoever told you to pick Sarah Palin as a running mate, you need to punch them in the fucking throat.
Do you ever see that movie, Game Change with Julianne Moore? Watch that.
Yeah, that's... And I don't even think Sarah Palin is as stupid as Sarah Palin is, but my fucking god, when you're on a national stage talking, god damn it, God, get a speechwriter, something.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out. Like, it kept the illegal Chinese arms thing out of the news.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I can see Russia from my backyard. Really?
2008 is around when I was sobering up a little bit and not drinking every night. So
because you knew the long nightmare was almost over.
It's almost over.
Oh shit!
Had to power through it, man. It's almost done.
Those were the bleak years, the lean years.
Man,
no.
But the two guys are Jonah Hill and Miles Teller. Work really well together in this movie. What I like about, even Todd Phillips movies that I don't like the Hangover sequels, I like how they look. Like, I like that Todd Phillips directs these comedies, but they're filmed like thrillers. They're filmed like Oliver Stone would shoot like an 80s movie, like right. Salvador or something. That's the case with this movie, too. Granted, more so than like any of the Hangover movies, this movie does get pretty deep into thriller territory as it goes along.
So yeah, there's certain scenes where it shows up. This is definitely not funny. This is fucked up shit.
I mean, it does have funny parts in it. It totally does. Jonah Hill is great in this movie.
He's smarmy as fuck.
Yeah, playing this like 30-something-year-old like adult Eric Cartman arms dealer, like
with Goldmember's laugh.
Yeah.
That fucking laugh, man, was ridiculous.
Yeah, he's really good in this. I like Jonah Hill anyway, but this I like him. I especially like him in this. Miles Teller is a very charming actor who can charm the shit off you even in a movie that's bad.
And he's the really good straight man to Jonah Hill in this movie, like.
To Jonah Hill coking up a storm and
shit,
pulling machine. I like the parts where these guys are put in these impossible situations where at one point they have to drive Berettas into Iraq from Jordan. The whole deal with the Chinese ammo. All these. It's interesting watching it and seeing just how they're gonna pull it out of their ass to get out of these situations or to fix these situations. But as the movie goes on, the greedier the Jonah Hill character gets and just royally fucks up.
Yeah. Well, and that's so the movie kind of starts out, it's kind of in the middle of towards the middle end of the movie, with Miles Teller character David getting kidnapped, and then kind of jumps back in time to the beginning, and they start doing little deals and whatnot, and you kind of get hints that Jonah Hill's character is kind of a shady guy, but he's good friends with Miles Teller's character. They were friends from grade school to middle school.
And he's a good bullshitter.
And he is. He's really good at telling people what they want to hear, how they want to hear it. So as they start to, they start working together, and of course they're friends, so that kind of helps solidify that bond. But then as these dealings get bigger and bigger, the wedge starts to form. And Jonah Hill just keeps fucking people over.
And it gets, because it does start out like a dark comedy, like you're watching like Pain and Gain, or again like the funny moments of Wolf of Wall Street. But then in the last act, when the shit's really hitting the fan, especially when Bradley Cooper shows up in this. Bradley Cooper is in maybe 10 minutes of this movie at the most,
right?
And he makes the most of his screen time because he is honestly really terrifying in this movie.
And not in the how do I explain it? The things you think he can do, just how he is.
Yeah.
Just his overall aura and the things he says.
Yeah.
It's just,
And it's his eyes too. Like, he spends most of his screen time in this with really bloodshot eyes through these kind of thick glasses he's wearing, and just the 5 o'clock shadow and the slick back hair, and giving dude a briefcase full of money to basically not ask questions about what happened to this man who disappeared without a trace. It never actually shows Bradley Cooper kill anybody, or like, you see him threaten Miles Teller with a gun, and that almost made me shit my pants. But other than that, it's all in how he looks. It's just the things that you are imagining this character is done.
Well, and nobody actually dies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think there's one scene where you see anybody actually dying.
Other than just, like, they come across dead bodies in Iraq, but they were already dead.
Yeah, that was... I mean, aside from, like, there's no... In a movie about guns and gun runners, nobody gets shot. People get shot at, but nobody actually gets shot.
I thought their driver, Marlboro, when they were driving into Iraq, I thought he was toast. I thought he was going to be toast when those guys were shooting at him. That was a fun scene.
Hanging out the back. Okay, so that scene there, because it's a scene where they're running guns from Jordan to Iraq. Because what had happened was Berettas, which are manufactured in Italy, Italy wasn't shipping to the States, I believe is what they were saying, or it wasn't shipping.
There was an embargo.
There was an embargo.
Yeah.
So they couldn't ship directly to the U.S. military. So what they had to do was ship it to Jordan. Well, once the guns never got through customs, they got confiscated. So they go down and pay a guy off, thinking they were going to be able to fly them out and fly them to Baghdad, where the green zone was. No, they ended up loading all of these guns into the back of this beat-down cargo truck and driving it from Jordan to Baghdad. And so in the middle, he barely got any gas. And they end up stopping for gas, and that's when... Because they stop and gas in Fallujah. And if you don't remember Fallujah, which... It's been a while since we had our Iraq lessons. Fallujah was not a good place. There were tons of insurgents.
It's the part you see in the trailer.
Yeah, it is.
Where Miles Teller's on the phone with his girlfriend, saying that he's in a hotel, and they're in the middle of fucking Fallujah.
Yeah.
At this gas station with dead bodies. And this is not long after they find... He's like, what are we going to do for gas? And the dude's like, oh, gas is free. And... Jonah Hill says, oh, man, Iraq is dope, man. I'm going to buy a place out here.
So their driver is out getting gas when these two trucks start coming up on them. So they have to hop in. Well, they take off, tank it empty. So here comes their driver running back. He has to hop into the back of the truck while it's running, while they're driving away. And then he hangs off the side of the truck and gasses them up while they're being shot at. I'm like, man, that's ballsy.
Yeah, fuck. And they're saved by the American military. You can tell they're coming too, because it's playing Fortunate Son by CCR.
Fucking just chopper comes flying overhead, 4 Humvees go driving in the other direction, just rain down the fucking fire on these insurgents. And they're driving by going, yeah! And all the troops are just going,
yeah.
Fuck you guys.
The movie does have a good soundtrack. I mean, it has the kind of soundtrack you would expect out of a movie like this, like Fortunate Son. Leonard Cohen plays at the end. It's got Hadaway on the soundtrack.
Oh my god.
That's pretty great. So it has the type of soundtrack you would expect out of a movie like this. You know, I mean, I would recommend this I would easily recommend this as like a matinee screening.
Yeah, if you're a Todd Phillips fan, I mean, this is definitely a fun one to go see.
And of Todd Phillips movies, I like the first Hangover. I like Due Date. The Hangover sequels, no.
Todd Phillips, he did Old School, didn't he?
Yeah, I like Old School.
Old School's fun.
I liked Starsky and Hutch. No, this is a good one. Like, it has that similar kind of cinematography you see out of his movies, where again, like I said earlier, it's what I like about the cinematography of his films, is that, like, even in comedies, they're kind of shot like they're thrillers, like they're really like kind of seedy thrillers, and I like that. So I like that here too, and this is a way better film than either Hangover 2 or Hangover 3. So
yeah, it was a little played out, but
God,
the use of color is really good.
Mm-hmm.
The vibrancy of when they're in Miami versus
the
bleached out kind of look when they're desert,
sweaty, like Tony Scott looking movie.
And then there's a point where they get to Albania, it's just this bleak, just gray. I mean, the color tones are really well done in this as far as knowing where you're at. I mean, obviously they tell you, but I mean, they do a good job of just with their wide shots of showing you just this bleakness or the bleached out desert or just how bright and vivid Miami is.
Oh yeah, like there's some like Michael Mann type shots where they're on their balcony overlooking like the city of Miami. It is a good looking film. It's the laughs in it work when it gets serious. Like the movie always remains interesting. It always remains like I'm curious how these guys are gonna get out of this. I like seeing how their business is working. I like the little details that the movie is given to us about how their business works. So I enjoyed the movie, but like I said, I tend to like this kind of movie. So if you like movies like Pain and Gain, Wolf of Wall Street, Scarface, stuff like that, Lord of War is a really good one. You'll like this movie. Like it's easily worth a matinee screening.
And if we learn nothing else from any of those movies, it's like, just do things fucking legit.
That won't make an interesting movie.
Do fucking things, I know. I'm just saying, but if you're trying to do it, do it legit. There's legit ways to go about it. And if you're gonna do it illegitimately, you pay the people off.
Yeah.
Don't not pay them, because that's fucking stupid. Like, they did a $300 million contract, which they stood to make 10% of that, which is $30 million. $30 million, and he was too cheap to pay $100,000 to repackage this ammunition because it was made in China. And China, and U.S. has an embargo on China, so they cannot use that ammunition. So they had to repackage all this ammunition into basically plastic bags and cardboard boxes.
Cardboard boxes.
So when they're dealing with this guy, he's like, oh, I can get it done in 8 weeks. With 50 guys, it'll cost $100,000. And they knew how much money that was going to save them. It ended up saving them like $3 million. So they were kind of laughing to each other, talking about it. But then he doesn't pay it.
Yeah.
That's what brings him down, is he doesn't pay $100,000 on a $30 million profit.
He doesn't even want to give his business partner his cut when he wants to leave the business.
So he's trying to fucks him over too, man. And then they come to a mediation session
with Kevin Pollak.
Who's their silent partner. He's like, here's my deal that I wrote up with my lawyer. I think it's very fair. I'm going to pay you $50,000 for the next 4 years. So he was only going to pay him $200,000 out of $30 million profit. It's just like, you are the just chintziest, cheapest motherfucker on the planet.
You deserve to go down, man.
You deserved all 4 of those years, which I'm sure you probably only served 2.5, maybe 3.
He gets 4 years. Like, Teller just gets like house arrest.
Well, yeah, because he probably brought him down, because he was already talking about bringing him down.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
It was, you know. So I think because they wiretapped everything. That's how they, you know, once they heard about this shady dealing, they're like, oh, maybe we should get involved in this, and so that's how they bring him down.
That was a funny scene, too, where they're at the bottom of the elevator. The FBI's waiting for him, ready to go up in the elevator. The FBI says, well, that saves us a trip. It's got good lines in it. There is some funny stuff in here. Any final thoughts on it?
This is a fun movie. I would recommend it.
Yeah, I do, too.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought I was going to enjoy it going into it, and I was surprised. I wasn't surprised that I did.
I was sold on the trailers. The trailers are a good representation of the movie.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot.
I mean, it gets a little more serious than none of the really, like, kind of thrillery stuff is necessarily in the trailer, but the trailer doesn't misrepresent the movie.
No.
I can't imagine they could even show a lot of that stuff in the trailer without giving shit away.
Probably not. And I mean, if you think about it, the whole premise of this movie, you realize shit's gonna go sideways on them. So, I mean, it's not really hard to infer, even from the trailers, that this isn't going to end the best.
That there's going to be some dark shit
right,
in here.
Exactly.
Well, I'm guessing, I'm just going to guess our movie was better than Ben-Hur.
I'm thinking so. Yeah, they get to talk about the chintzy Ben-Hur sequel.
They get to talk about our Lord.
Our Lord.
Drink up, Judah Ben-Hur.
Judah Ben-Hur.
Truly, you are the King of Kings. I had to specify to Brian. I texted him earlier in the week, and I said, "Hey, would you be able to go see Ben-Hur?" And I like 2 minutes later, I'm like, "Oh wait, hang on." I specified. I was
not Heston.
I was like, "It's the remake,
not the good one."
And he didn't. It's a good thing I did that. He didn't know there was a remake coming out, so he thought like there was a Fathom event screening, and like he's like, "Oh yeah, okay." I was like, I had to specify that because I was like, you'd be giving up like your whole night
and you just come in going, "What the fuck is this? This is not the movie I remember."
Well, next week I'm actually gonna be gone, so. Next week, Don't Breathe comes out and a couple other things. Nice. So I'm leaving on Wednesday and I get back the following Tuesday. So yeah, I'll just be seeing shit because I really want to see Don't Breathe. I really fucking want to see that. So yeah, we'll be seeing shit when I get back from Buffalo.
Right.
See ya.
Adios.